we have got to hand it to Blackrock because they were able to put together the entire puzzle piece of what was going to happen with the Bitcoin price action. Now, from their round table, they're not looking to list the ETF and have it suddenly take off like a rocket ship, because they haven't sold it to their clients. It's going to take them at least a quarter to do so. Notice how beautifully it was timed, as historically, Bitcoin's not going to start rocketing until after the halving. And the cherry on top of this beautiful plan so they could catch the tailwinds of the ETF listing is they did it right before the start of a new year that's correlated with the halving cycle. A lot of these Bitcoin mining facilities, these are going to be gutted, and they're going to be selling their real estate as a data center. The mining equipment that they're using in there just is not going to be able to keep up with the halving. It's outdated. It will no longer be profitable. Sayonara. Now, Riot actually sold enormous blocks of electricity, anticipating the halving. Some of their equipment was going to go bunk. It was going to become non-profitable. So they sold their electricity back at more of a profit than they would have made actually running the S19 miners, which gives us a lot of reminiscence of the entire Russia Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Yeah, they'd rather sell the energy, but if they don't have the option to do that, which is often more profitable, they'll go ahead and just become the world's second largest Bitcoin mining facility. This plays directly in effect with Caspa. As we know, very soon, 10 BPS is going to become a reality. And we can notice on cas.fyi, occasionally the blocks per second are fluctuating from 1 all the way up to 10. What this means for hardware is there's going to be an upgraded, faster, better ASIC miner that gets released, whether it's by Ice River or Bitmain. And once those come online, they're going to be extremely more efficient than the Caspa miners that are running right now. So yes, profit has to be taken, but this means we're going to get another massive spike in the hash rate. While we're on the topic of ASICs and electricity, Caspa doesn't create orphan blocks, which makes it the most efficient energy consumption of any proof of work project. What this means is orphan blocks is with your regular proof of works like Bitcoin, imagine they're like stenographers in court just writing everything down, and there'll be dozens of miners writing everything down. Only one manuscript is going to proceed what happened in that triangle. Only one miner is going to be accepted, and their transcript is going to be used after it's all cross-verified and everything. All the other miners that were writing down the exact same thing, they're just sitting there wasting energy. That's known as orphan blocks. Caspa doesn't create orphan blocks, so it is substantially more efficient in the consumption of energy, and you can use your imagination on how many benefits this presents the project. Right now, we're directly on the cusp of jumping into 10 blocks per second, but after that, 32 blocks per second is an indefinite reality for Caspa's future. What the fabled endgame is the 100 blocks per second, which will supersede any crypto that we can. It will be the fastest, the best across the board. Right when we jump up to 10 blocks per second, we're almost neck and neck with the speed of Solana in terms of transactions per second, blocks per second, because you've also got to factor in block size as well. At 10 blocks per second, we have an entirely new coin. And we can see this across a lot of charts. Just take Flux, for example. All of a sudden, you get these massive bullish explosions, and these are correlated with projects moving out of testnet and into mainnet or main alpha. And of course, Caspa, while this is a mainnet, isn't the alpha mainnet. This is considered a pre-alpha mainnet. Once we jump to 10 blocks per second, we may very well have an entirely new chart. We have graphed out where the peak is going to be directly on the Caspa chart, and that's going to be available in the Patreon. Speaking of technical analysis, last week we uploaded a video using indicators that nobody is covering on the one-day chart. Our fuel tank is fine. It's above the baseline. This is showing us that we're not going to form a lower high. Now, we might get a little bit of waning pressure. It might go down to like 95 cents for maybe 24 hours, but 10 cents is indefinitely looking strong. We use these exact same indicators back at the depth of the cup this summer, right after it was coming off the April peak. The rest of social media was like, oh, it's going below a penny. We realized exactly when it turned corner. Not only that, we identified a pattern within these indicators that showed us as it was starting to gain bullish momentum, it would break to the downside suddenly, and that would present the buy opportunity. Check out this flashback to the depth of the cup.
What's been forming on the one-day chart is the Jenkins oscillator just got above the halfway point. And recently we can see we've been moving sideways because it's just been barely level with it, but now it's starting to get really beefy. So ideally on the one-day chart, this is what the most beautiful dream setup would look like. The stochastics checks back, and ideally it would check back sharp all the way down to the baseline. And when it hits the bottom right here, the Jenkins oscillator will still have a lot of gas in the fuel. In the scenario where that does unfold on this chart, I'm going to just back the truck up. I'm going to buy 1 million Caspa.
Everyone who is leaving comments on the prior videos saying, oh, Caspa's going to crash down to 8 cents, or their technical analysis was leading them to a different price target than the one that we predicted, you've got to man up and realize you are actually wrong. And I'm going to prove to you how wrong you are with this one question. How thick is your trading journal? Is it every day for 4 months or every day for 4 years? Or do you even have one? Imagine how much notes you used to write down studying the Revolutionary War in history class. How much have you written down in essay form in outlines? How many books have you read and then re-outlined and applied to the trades that you've made and are planning to make? How thick is your trading journal? You're doing it all in your head. You can't even run a fast food restaurant in your head. The burgers will come out different every time and the customers will not come back. You've got to have a system in order to get the same results over and over again. And what we're going to sell you guys on the Patreon is a massive head start into customizing and building your own system, because you're going to get to buy mine. We're also going to include how to find new gaming tokens, websites that you can use to figure out if a new token that might be a micro cap is just a rug pull that'll analyze a smart contract for you. Everything that you're going to want to look at in the 24-point checklist. This you could ultimately use to start posting on Twitter, dropping your picks and some of the research that you have, because it's going to be next level stuff, blowing everybody else on social media away. You will become a refined expert. You can clearly see, based on the research that we posted here, we have additional information than the rest of the channels, and that's all going to be yours in so much more when this Patreon drops this week. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.